Gabriel or Gabriel and Goucha. So, Coach, first of all, thank you for accept my invitation to talk about soccer or football issues, and it's my pleasure to have you here again. It's always a good opportunity to listen, to your thoughts, your reflections, your opinions, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And so, please, I would like to start asking you if you can, um, like a kind of a small bio, tell a little bit about yourself, your background, your experience, please.
My friend, first of all, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be here talking with you about several issues that concern football and or soccer, if you want. And it's always a pleasure because you are a big spokesperson for a lot of coaches of soccer and futsal as well, United States, in Brazil, in Europe. So because you are a very famous guy, so it's very an honor to me to be here talking to you. So thank you, first of all, and thank you for people that maybe will watch this video and or not, maybe or not, can learn something from this. So talk about myself. I can try to tell you in just a few short sentences. So I started my coaching career more than 10 years ago on sub six, so very little boys and girls. I then transition season by season to the next level, so under 8, under 10, under 12, 13, under 14, until I reach the senior players, so the A teams, as you can say. So I have experience with boys, with girls. I have experience even in the veterans like division, you can call that. So the people that are over 35, 40 years old that also play recreational, but also competitive. So I have that as well. College soccer, not in the United States as you, but in Portugal. And that I have that diversity, even not only in teams but also in roles. I have been head coach, I have been assistant coach, I have been a physical coach, a goalkeeper coach. I've taped a lot of games. So I observe and analyze images and opponents, etc. So I have drove vans. I even wash clothes to help those guys out in the club. So I'm very well rounded, if you can say that, in all pretty much all the roles in soccer. I also have been not I cannot say a sports director because it was not a sports director for a club, but for a company. So to be like almost like an agent from some place to come to Portugal through a company and let them choose the best club possible so they can develop more. So I've been that as well. I have that experience in managerial roles, so to speak. But my greatest skill set is, of course, the team for today, individual coach, so individual development lead coach. So that's my greatest skill set. As I said, I started some years ago, and I specialize on it. I train boys and girls from several ages until, of course, senior players, and one of my great passions because it's almost like a canvas, right? I can train somebody from almost like the ground up until they reach their objectives. But I'm not going to talk more now about it because we have this whole interview for that. But in terms of bio, that's a little bit like that. So I don't want to give an entire preach about the bio, but overall, that's my experience in soccer.
All right, Coach. Okay, thank you so much. And I have been trying to find information about this trend. It's a kind of maybe I don't know 3 5 years. I have been seeing more clubs talking about it, and of course every person, every pro, you know, you have your own way to work. You have your beliefs. You have things that you believe is better for achieve the performance. But like in your opinion, right? Um, if I ask you, coach, in your opinion, what is individual development leads or individual development coach? What do you see in terms of this let's say new name that people are talking about? What's your opinion about it?
So that's a very great question. Thank you for that. Because we have to think about this. 40, 50 years ago, well, pretty much like that, we had even a striker coach. So we always had goalkeeper coach. That was the first the individual coach on football and soccer. That was the goalkeeper coach. A guy specifically, a guy or girl, a man or woman, specifically to have, we have the skill set and to be able to be responsible for one, two, or three players, just that, and nobody else. So that was the first one. But we had striker coaches, for example. Then we saw the disappearances of the striker coach, and then we just had the goalkeeper coach. But then we saw the rise of the physical coach, of the observer or the analyzer, the scout, you can say that. Then we of course had always people to help, so we had the assistant coaches. Then we started to have more and more and more roles. So now we even have throw-ins coaches, right? In England, for example, Liverpool is very famous for that. They have just a coach to teach throw-ins. People can say, "Oh, but that's an exaggeration." Maybe it is, maybe not. But we have to understand that football was never as rich as it is now. So players are very valuable, they are very expensive, they are assets to their specific clubs that require a lot of money to pay, a lot of money to keep. So because a player not only has to train, but he has to eat well, sleep well, so train well. He has to have a lot of support from the club in all of the departments. So that requires a lot of people, and a lot of people require a lot of resources. So what I'm trying to say is that, for example, if I'm, for example, Real Madrid, just an example, and I want to spend 100 million euros or dollars, if you want, in a player, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So if I spend that money, I want the player to come and to act and to perform right away. I'm not going to wait 5 years, even if he's 18. I'm not going to wait a lot for him to start perform. I am Real Madrid. I want to win the Champions League. I spend 100 million euros or dollars on that player. So I want them to perform. But how can you achieve that? You have to have a specific person to help that player to develop the skill set necessary, not only for his own individual development on his career. So if I'm a player that I have a good speed, but I have technical issues, or if I have tactical issues, even if in that team I'm not well, I can be good in another team. But if I don't develop with somebody trying to help me, I will not perform on Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, Bayern Munich. No, doesn't matter the club. I will not perform. So I need somebody to help me on that side, and also for the club, I need to incorporate that player on the team. So if I have Mbappe, I have to incorporate Mbappe with Vinicius. There are two types of players. They can be similar in some things, but they are different in others. I need to try to have 11 players, just to start, of course, to try to incorporate all that. That's, of course, the main responsibility of the head coach, but the head coach needs help, not only from the assistants that are there in the training to help the training go smoothly and everything goes well, but I need help from an individual development coach to specifically that player or that player before practice, after practice, to really develop the skills necessary. And not only about the skills, but the mindset. Because as you know, of course, there are a lot of players on the world stage that are, let's say, like hidden gems, prodigies, that they don't reach the high levels because of the mentality, because they have amazing skill sets. As you know, you, Igor, my friend, you are Brazilian. Brazil is one of the top, I'm not going to say even top 10, I'm going to say top 5, top 3 best countries on the world to play football and soccer, and an incredible, great pool of recruitment because a great number of population, more than 200 million, and there are incredible players there. But the mindset, it's what's required to reach the elite level. And an individual, the development coach, helps you with that as well, to train the mindset, okay, to teach you how to react in certain situations, to feel confident about yourself, to also be humbled, of course, because nobody's perfect, nobody knows everything, not even Ronaldo or Messi or somebody else. So we always need to try to develop, but we always need to be confident about our own growth. So of course, in that regard, again, the individual development coach is very important nowadays to really achieve that objectives that are very high on modern football, because again, a lot of money, a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure from fans. So people want to impress, want to perform right away, and in that regard, they need specialized help.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, you said something very interesting, that the mindset, the mentality. Um, Sometimes, you know, professional players, soccer or even football or even another sport, they are very, very good. They are well prepared. But if something happened and they got frustrated, you know, they don't have the ability to face the frustration. And then sometimes because of one little moment, something happened, the frustrations, the frustration destroys, their ability to perform in that game. Like you have, if you look for internet, you can see uh, a famous tennis player, the Djokovic. He said that one of the first thing he has to learn was like, something happens, okay, start over, let behind, forget it. Because if you start to think about, oh, my mistake, and then you get angry, and then it's a bad cycle. It's very, very good what you said in terms of individual development coach. It's not only in terms of how to play the connection, but also here. It's very nice. Okay, thank you, coach. I have two questions in one question for you. I'm gonna split youth development and U20 and pro. So youth development one side, U20 and pro another side. How do you see this position? The individual development coach. How do you see this in a youth development, and then after that, how do you see in a pro environment? How do you see the difference? What's your opinion about it?
So first of all, if you understand that age groups are a reality for some reason, right? So if I have an under 13, I expect them to try to understand that, okay, I'm trying to transition from 7-7 or 9-9 to 11-11 football. So because now the field is bigger, now the goal are the goals, the two goals are bigger. We have to understand, first of all, space. So space is the first thing we have to teach those kinds of players of that age, so of the players of that specific age. So that's what's one of the biggest differences I can see. The under 13, those very youth development is space. If we talk about, of course, under 10, under 8 or 9, that's more about technical side. I always leave the physical part for last, because I always say to people, if we are growing, we as people are growing until we have 2021 physically, of course. In brain, we are always developing until 25, 30 years old, but physically, we are also always developing until 21. So I don't need to have a big, I'm not say nothing, of course, that's not a good way to approach, but I'm not going to have a high like level of input to a player in terms of physical abilities because he's still developing. So there's no problem. And another reason, because if I have a tall player, very tall player, you can play, for example, as a striker, like a target man, let's call it like that, or a center back, a guy just to push headers and to hold the line. I'm not going to try to make that player just because he's under 13. I'm going to try to make him like the next Usain Bolt, because probably we'll never reach that. But I'm not going to try to pick up a small boy that's very agile, very speed. I'm not going to try to have him to jump like Ronaldo, like an NBA player, because each person has their own skill set. And of course, we need to develop other things, of course, not only the main things, the things that we are better. Of course, we need to be the most complete as a player as possible, but we need to focus on the things that we can do. And in youth development, we need to train this. The first of all is technique, 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 technique. And always say to people, motor coordination. We can say motor coordination maybe it's physical, a little, but motor coordination doesn't require a lot of effort. It requires a lot of practicing, a lot of discipline from a coach to tell, if you're running, I have to move my head to the side to see the ball coming. And you can say, but that's very easy. I I I give you a challenge for you and anybody see us in this program, that you can watch even professional games, see how many players can look to a ball while running, okay, and try to receive it well. Not so many players. Why? Because there's their own fault? No, because when they were young, they were not they were not taught on those kinds of skill sets and those moves. So motor coordination, technique, it's essential. Then, like I was telling, so to finish the youth development, it's tactical, but very like introductory level of tactical side. So I don't want to tell an under 13 player to be able to pick like 4 or 5 positions on the field and play well in every position. No, we need to be calm. We need to progress things, but of course I have to give him some tactical advice so he can understand, because now the space is bigger. He needs to be on the correct positions on the field, be able to play well and to fulfill his objectives for that game. If we talk about under 20 and pro, that's of course another age group and another whole level, because now you are already a senior player. So the physical part now is very important, of course, because football and soccer on that age groups are very fast. Everything happens so fast, okay? So you need to have very good physical capabilities. But again, always train the technical side, but most important in that age groups, the tactical side of the game, because now your coach will not only ask but demand of you to be able to go forward and to fulfill the right spaces, but then go back and do your teammate's position if the team needs it, and doing another position on another game or another, and you have to fulfill and play good, not just the average but good. So the demanding of the fans, of the coaches, even your teammates is very high. So it also needs to be high of yourself. You need to demand a lot of yourself on that age groups. So just a quick thing on the developing football, like under 15, under 13 and below, it's technique and some tactical aspects, but especially technique. Under 20 and pro, tactical, physical. Always technique, of course, but very tactical and physical. Okay, so that's the main difference that I see. And again, just to finalize, it always depends on the coach and the coach. Sorry, of the coach as well, but always depends on the player. because some players require a lot of effort to train several skill sets, others require less, but doesn't mean they don't require constant evolution of their own game. So that's why an individual coach is very specialized in understanding what each player are. Is like I said to my players, I'm like a doctor in this regard. So I do an X-ray of a player, and I try to understand immediately what it is and what it needs to be better. So in this space of understanding, I need to, okay, this player needs this, needs that, and this is the main difference for me, of course, in terms of youth developing and under the 20 or pro level.
Okay, coach. Thank you. Perfect. I understood very well what you want to say. It's like I thank you because you are clear. You know what you're talking about. It's very clear the message. I was thinking like sometimes you have players that youth player in a youth development or maybe under 20 get close to a professional environment. Sometimes you have players that don't see they have very good skills, footwork, technique. Maybe they use both feet on the field, but sometimes they cannot see when the game is on. They cannot see the full picture. They don't understand that it's a small game inside the bigger game. They don't understand the pictures, and they don't understand that sometimes you have to be more individual, sometimes you have to be more teamwork. You know what I mean? Like, what's your opinion with this situation that I believe many clubs, with very good players, they have this issue?
So thank you again for that great question. And just to clear this out, because I had a very amateur, low-level career as a player, but I have an advantage. Once I reach like under 16, under 17, I started to practice other sports. In this regard, it was martial arts, and it was very interesting for me because I gained a lot, especially in terms of the mental part that you were talking about, and I'm going to talk now as well. And it helps that once when I was a player, I started as a striker, but it was very like one season or two. But then I was a goalkeeper, and because I was a goalkeeper, I was behind. I was always seeing the game. I was always communicating, try to be the boss of the defense. It was the coaches that said, you need to communicate, you need to command your defense. So I always was trying to develop skill sets that helped me be a coach. But why? Because I saw the game. But of course, because I was a goalkeeper, I had time and space to see the game. What happens is that and because I was telling you about the martial arts, that we need to train people in the mental part. That's my specialty in individual training, the mental part, mental training, in terms of them be able to receive a ball and to look up and try to decide fast. But that doesn't happen. Like me having a training with you, for example, you come to me, you are an under 15-year-old player. You come to me and want that. I cannot, like in the first exercise, give you the ball and say 1 second to decide. No, no, no. Your brain is still trying to adapt. So, like everybody in their whole life, we practice and we train and we development step by step. And I have to, like, I go to a gym. I want to pick up weights. I'm not going to pick the biggest weights in the gym. I cannot, right? I need to go smaller, bigger, step by step. So imagine that's the physical part. So the body, the mind is a lot more complex than the body. So you really need to understand if the player has fears, if the player has doubts, if the player doesn't believe in himself or over believes, has a big ego, all those things. Imagine if he goes to a game, he plays very well on practice, but then he goes to a game and he feels the pressure from the stands. he has like a parent or a girlfriend or somebody else look to him, and he starts to feel like nervous, and he goes down. But once we see him on practice, he's a genius, he's a prodigy, but in the games he doesn't play well. That tells us something. So we need to go step by step, always be like a psychiatrist, and a psychologist as well, as a coaches, to understand first what is happening, and then step by step on specific exercises on the mental training to give him more confidence, and his reaction time is bigger and bigger and bigger. And because his reaction time is faster and faster and faster, he can look up and see the whole space, like you were saying in the beginning. And now I can understand, okay, yeah, I have space, I can go. If I don't have space, let me try to look for the best well positioned teammate that I have, and to pass the ball. People need to understand, football, soccer is a collective, is a team sport. Okay, that's no question about it. That's why we play 11 against 11. Okay, but you have to develop your own skill sets and your own mentality to understand that nobody's controlling you. This is not PES or EA Sports, EA FC, and now it's called. So it's not a video game. I'm not controlling somebody. Nobody's controlling me when I'm playing. So I need to make my own decisions, like in life, right? We are kids. Parents decide everything for us. Then we develop and we became adults. And now we have to decide, okay, we have to make our own decision in life. That happens, of course, in the field as well. So we need to make the players not robots, but have them have creativity. That's one of the main things in Europe, and I think in Brazil also it's very talked about. It's like coaches and a lot of people want like almost robot players that you have to pick up the ball, look, and pass to the side, pass to the side. No, but no, we need to let people be creative, because creativity brings responsibility. If I want to try something new, I have to be responsible for if I miss. And if I miss, I have to get it. I have to go get the ball, because I need to make an example, not only for other people, but to myself, that if I fail, I can go there and try again and be successful. On the second, third, fourth, or fifth time, doesn't matter. We have 90 minutes. We can always win a match and a game if we don't give up. But to not give up, not only we need, of course, that fire, let's call it like that, inside of us, but we need the mentality. So these kinds of things, again, you can train specific exercises for that. And of course, the coach, the individual coach, development coach, is very important, because it's almost like a best friend, an uncle, if you want. Let's say like a guy that you have like a reference in your life. So like an older brother, a best friend, an uncle, what you want to call it, because he's there with us, helping. Okay, I need this, and okay, come here, I'm going to help you, because he's not a head coach. The head coach and the assistant coaches, and I can talk like you because I have been, of course, in those positions. They're almost like an organized, they're organizers and like military sergeants, because they're always screaming, always demanding, you have to do this, you have to do that. And that's not bad, because they need to be like that. Of course, they also need the human part, okay, the social part. But the individual coach, he's not there to like massacrate your mind and say you need to do that, you need that, or to curse you. No, he's there to help you every step of the way. It's like a little angel or voice in your head telling you, don't give up, believe in yourself. If you receive the ball with this foot, try with the other. Okay, and to be that guy that's always there by your side, helping you step by step to developing. So that I really think that we are developing to a phase in football and soccer where not only you have those kinds of individual development coaches on pre-season and post-season, but more importantly during the season. That's very important, because people associate, I think, individual development coaches to like personal trainers, right? So I go to a gym, I want to be in shape for that season, and I go there, and the personal trainer does a lot of exercises. I train again, like I told you before, the physical side, right? And I forgot about some technique, and especially the mindset. So the coach that's really not personal trainer. It can be, of course, no problem with that. But is really the main thing that it is an individual development coach. Is always needs to be preoccupied and concerned with the technical part and especially the mental part. So that's what I think that's required a lot of players to understand, to see the game. It takes time, but it takes an effort, and they can do it. Okay, not every Xavi, Iniesta, Modric, you can name a ton of players. Didn't like when they were 10. They were not play. They didn't play like that, right? They needed to develop. Okay, they need a lot of development. So again, like everybody, if with time and the right coach, you can reach a good level. I'm not going to say the highest level possible. That's up to you and a lot of things in football as in life, but you can reach a good level. And sorry for extending my explanation, but as always, I always want to try to help coaches that are watching and listening to us, and players especially, to really understand the picture, the picture I'm painting. Okay, so they can understand that this is not just a trend because it's cool; it's because it's needed. Okay, that's why I have a lot of parents and a lot of people searching for me and other people like me, because they see that just team practice just doesn't cut it. Okay, we need more, and that's why me and other people like yourself, my friend Igor, and we are here to help each player to achieve their goals.
Yeah, perfect, coach. Yeah, it's interesting because what you said in terms of spontaneity of the players, the creativity, and sometimes players are very creative, but some coaches, for some reason, they are so focused on the outcome, and they don't want to take the risk, and then they demand like, oh, be simple, make this simple, make it simple, because, and I think you have to strike the right balance between, okay, we need performance, we need the outcome, but they are human beings, they have creativity. You cannot, like you said, you cannot do this. It's not a video game with the players. They have to think by themselves and make their own decisions. So if we could take keywords or key points in terms of the individual development lead coach, what would you have in your mind, like key points that you believe it's very important? Like, if you want to talk to another coach and say, hey, I believe the main points or the key points or the key words would be these and these, what do you have in your mind for youth and for a pro environment in terms of key aspects?
Okay, thank you again for your question. For example, if we have key words for young people or young people, I always want to for them to understand the timing. Okay, because it's like also almost like a dance with rhythm. So if I want to make an exercise, I want to tell them to use, for example, numbers. Say 1, 2, 3, go. So always go or now, or very short words. Okay, so they can associate that words, even their own name, or not so much colors. Colors can be used on the exercise, but not just. You can say, of course, one on the other training. You can say yellow, blue for that specific exercise. But I think it's very important to associate the words with what you listen on the game. Okay, so of course in the game you're listening to a ton of things, and you're always listening to your name. Okay, but if I listen to my name, maybe somebody's asking me for the ball, but I cannot train a player just to listen his name and to turn and pass the ball, because he needs to analyze, like we talked before on your other question. So the key words need to be very, like I said, very short words. So now I'm talking about the training part. So now go one, two, and always try to keep it short but simple for the player to understand. In terms of if I have to explain the game itself to a youngster or even an under 20 or a pro, I need for them to understand that mentality. I have to have the mindset. Okay, so I need to have discipline. I need to have self belief. So I need to be confident. Okay. I need to be humbled, like I told you before. I need to be focused. Okay. And I need to have solidarity for my players because for my teammates, so the other players, because it's a team sport, and maybe if I see my team almost like suffering in goal, but I'm thinking, oh, there's already like two, three guys there, they can take it. No, and I don't run back. What do I expect? Other guys try to back me up on a play that I go with the ball, but nobody comes with me because maybe they don't believe that I will do something. So I have to do to others what I want them to do to me, right? So need to be to have solidarity for my fellow players, my teammates. So I need to strike, so attack and defend. Okay, always. Even if I'm the striker, I'm the first defender. I need to get the ball and help the other defenders. If I'm a defender, I need to go and try to strike. Okay. If my team is losing by one on the 19th minute, if I'm a central defender, I try to attack if my coach allows me, and I will help the attackers to try to score. So that's what I'm trying to say. These key words, okay, in terms of mentality, they are the best ones that we can use, because other words, I can tell you some, another coach can tell you others. The most important part is to understand what type of player you have in front of you, and to understand that, and because your question was very good in that regard, that there is not a shoe that fits all sizes, right? So I can give pointers, sure, but that's the main thing about the individual development coach. That's we talk about this privately, and I talk with the other coaches about this as well, because we cannot pick exercises from a team perspective and just give them to one player and say, because it's just one, it's individual training. No, 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 no. Individual training is also having individual exercises that you cannot do with five or more players. So that's very different exercises, and not only to have you run a lot and dribble past some cones and try to shoot. That's very basic. It's a lot of exercises to train the mindset, train to reaction time, train the vision, like you told before, like having to see the whole field and those kinds of things. So I can give pointers, I can give the shoe, but we always have to adapt the size of the shoe. Okay, and under 20 and pro, the main thing is that also mentality, and to never give up, to go everything you got, 90 minutes you go. Okay, because if I have a player under 10, I can say, okay, no, don't give up, but I have to understand that because he's still very young, if he runs a lot because he doesn't understand to management of the physical part, he can be tired very quickly. And as a coach, even as a individual coach, and as an adult, I cannot say go. The child will not gain a new set of lungs and just start running again, okay, or takes steroids and go, right? So I have to understand that. But even if I understand that from a under 20 or a pro level, I have to demand it. I have to demand, okay? They really need to manage their physical power and to give their whole. Just to finalize this, I will give you an example. You have, for example, as you, my friend, are Brazilian, you have, for example, Vinicius Junior. Vinicius Junior, once he was transferred to Real Madrid, right? Uh, he would dribble past a lot of players, okay? But when it was time to shoot, he failed a lot. He was not a starter right away because he had to gain his space. As Rodrigo, right? As Hendrix now is trying to gain it, okay, just to name some Brazilians and from Real Madrid. So what Vinicius did, I'm very certain of it, is he had somebody or a group of people on Real Madrid to help him to be more confident, to adapt to the language, to the country, of course, but to the game of the team. And he started to show season by season that, okay, I have time now, I have space, I kick the ball, I shoot, it's a goal, or I give an assist. And now he's a very influential player, not only on Real Madrid, but on Brazilian national team. So this took time to develop, and he was a senior player. Now imagine if we're talking about an under 15 or another 13 player. And just to give a Portuguese example, you have, because I saw news now and now I remember him, Rafael Leão, AC Milan player. Okay, he now had some problem with Allegri, was sub out, and he started like, oh, I don't. So he's angry to happen. That happens to a lot of players. That's not the issue. The issue is that everybody sees a great potential in him. He has a great speed. He can dribble very well. Okay, but it's his mentality. You can see that sometimes he doesn't give his all, and it's a shame because I'm confident that if myself, you, or another coach that takes individual development coaching very seriously could help him a lot. And I say Rafael Leão, just to name another Portuguese player. I can say João Felix, guy that still has a lot to give. He has gone now to play with Ronaldo on Al Nassr, but all the main thing about him it was the mentality. Okay, I'm not saying that they don't want to train, they don't want to play well. I'm sure they want. I'm very sure of it, but I'm just as sure of this as other people that they could play a lot better. And I want to say better, more consistently. Okay, that's the main one of the main things about pro level consistency. Okay, you can play one game and you can score 5 goals, and then you have 20 games, you don't score 1 goal. Okay, and then you have another game, you score 2 goals. We cannot say you are a great player unless you're giving a lot of assists or recoverings of the ball, okay, etc. We cannot say you are a great player. You could be a great player, but a great player not only plays well one game, he plays well in the second and third, and we count by our fingers the other way around, the games that they don't play well. Okay, because we get used to see them play so well that once we see they don't play one game, we like, what happened? But because we are used to see that, and that's the consistency part that makes the pro level in terms of the mentality that we talked about very key words again because of your question that I want to give to under 20 and pro level consistency. Okay, and
All
thank
right,
you for your
coach.
question again.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Our time is running out. I have one more question for you for us to wrap up. Uh, I was talking to another coach here a couple of days ago, and we have different opinions. And you are a UEFA licensed coach. You have a lot of experience. You have your experience in Portugal. You see, your background there is different for many backgrounds here in the United States. So, what's your opinion in terms of we have on the field? Let's say we have on the field. I'm trying to recreate our conversation to tell you. You have on the field, let's say you have 3 thirds, defensive third, mid third, attacking third. So 3 pieces on the field, defense, midfield, attacker. And he was telling me that he believes that, the future, like maybe the next 5 years or so, this individual development coach will go towards a kind of like a specific third coach, Like it's gonna be a offensive coach, it's gonna be a midfielders coach, it's gonna be a defensive coach. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be individual because it's a very small group of people, not 25, not 27, not 30, but according to their role on the field. Like I'm a midfielder, I'm a defender, I'm a winger, or I'm a striker. So he believes that the future, he believes that we are going towards this. Coaches for specific thirds of the game, defense, midfield, attack. I said to him, I don't see that way, but makes some sense. But, you know, what's your opinion in terms of this? Do you believe that we are going towards this? Or do you believe that it's going to continue like more, individual development lead coach? What's your opinion based on your, UFAB license, experience, and background, your qualification, and your European view, in terms of coaching? What's your opinion?
First of all, thank you again for another great question. I talked with other coaches on the past. I can give a very personal opinion, and my personal opinion is like a mix between yours and your friends, or the coach, because I think they don't exclude one another. I think really that as I told on the beginning of our conversation, that you have the goalkeeper coach, and you always have to have the goalkeeper coach. I believe that you should have a defender coach, a midfield coach, and an attacker coach. Like we can see, like for example, American football. So as United States, they say football, right? Do you have the offensive coordinator, the defense coordinator? But that's more of the assistant coaches. If we have, for example, we have two assistant coaches. So if you're not there, one of them will give the training. So he'd be like your right wing guy, and the other one, your left side arm. So the two of them are the most important on the hierarchy below the head coach. Those guys can be one of them defensive coordinator and another offensive coordinator. But I believe that you should have other specific coaches just for the main part of the field. Yes. But as I agree with you also, I think that you should always have as well, not to substitute one another, but also as well one individual development coach. Because, for example, if I train just the midfielders, I can train, of course, certain aspects that require them to be good midfielders. But in the midfield, you have defensive midfield, you have offensive midfield, you have right or left side midfielders, you have central midfielders. All of these roles can, of course, and have very similar roles, but they're also very specific. Okay, I cannot ask Busquets to be like, for example, just to give you a grade 10 now, to be like, for example, Bellingham. Right, Busquets doesn't play now. But Rodri for City, I'm not going to ask Rodri to be like Bellingham, right? Because they are very specific positions and require very different skill sets, right? And I'm not going to say that I want, for example, Luis Diaz from Bayern Munich, right, to be able to play as Harry Kane, right? Because they're very specific positions, and again, each of those players, they are an individual. That's why we say individual development coach. Each of the individuals that are part of a team have specific ways of see the game, to be able to see, to try to connect with the other players, with the teammates, and to the coaches. So each of them needs to have a bespoke, very tailored training to them, and a very conversations very specific to them. We in Portugal, we always knew, for example, that's like public knowledge, that for example, on Sir Alex and Manchester United's teams, when you have Cristiano Ronaldo and, for example, Nani playing there, for example, Sir Alex Ferguson would say something to Ronaldo and really say, really, you have to do that. You didn't play well. You were very, very bad, and etc. And Ronaldo, because he knew that Ronaldo, listening to this, he was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, I will be better. I'll be better. I will train more. Okay. So he knew he had to, okay, say something to Ronaldo. But for example, to Nani, sometimes he had to say, "No, come on, my friend, you can do better. You are better. Let's do this and that." Okay, I'm not saying that Nani was weak and Ronaldo strong. That doesn't, because Nani was an excellent player. I would have Nani career if I had, and you as well. So he was an excellent player. But he's a different guy than Ronaldo, as I am a different guy from you, my friend. So we have different qualities, different virtues, different problems. So different things that we have to work on in our lives. So in this regard, an individual development coach is always needed in the team to be able to specifically help the players in their position. Of course, it helps that the individual coach, development coach, understands what each position is required. For example, I have been a goalkeeper, I have been a striker. I even was asked by some coaches that I had to play on the middle field, defense, and on the, as you say, right defender, so right wing back or right back. Yes, I play on those positions, so I try to understand what each position is required, and because I train players from each position, so wingers, attackers, midfielders, defenders, even goalkeepers, I try to understand each position. So that's, of course, you're not going to hire 11 individual development coaches to train each of the single position that you have on the field. You can only need one or two, or maximum three, I say. But I can agree with your friend that if you had just a defender coach, your training for the head coach could be very simple. You just say, now, goalkeeper coach, you train the goalkeepers, so 20 minutes, go to the side. Defender the coach, you pick up 4 or 8 or 6 guys and go there to train. Midfield coach, you go there. Attacker coach, you go there. Can be the same time, can be different times, and then you do a collective training again, because we're talking about professional level. Professional level, you train 2 times a day, pretty much every day. So you have a lot of time to practice, a lot of things to do. So you need a lot of guys to help the head coach to give the best training possible. So I think, again, just to finalize, position coaches, so main sections coaches, so goalkeeper, so defense, midfield, attacking, yes. But every time I get asked this question, or I talked about this issue, I always will tell you, always need an individual development coach, because the players need to have that specific, like, extra thing, extra like in their game, in their mind, to play better and to feel more confident. So again, I think the individual development coach is very important. And as of me, I'm a WFB licensed guy. Unfortunately, in my country, as I think maybe in USA, Brazil, and other countries, it's not easy to go to A and pro, because we need to be on a certain clubs to be able to get more license. But I think in the future, and I'm sorry to just add this up, because maybe it's interesting for you or other people that are
Yeah,
listening to it. In the future, I think that individual coaches should have specific license. I'm just saying individual development coach, because a defense coach can take a license, be licensed like me, and specialize on defender because he was a defender, because he likes defense. Okay. If the people want to have specific license, as the goalkeepers have their own license, but we are talking about the only player out of 11 that can take the ball for himself. So it's a very, very, very specific position. But again, if they want license for defense coaches, you can give them. I don't have a problem with that. But you need a license for individual development coaches, because the training itself is very specific. And I think, because every team will need one in the future at least, I think it will help a lot of coaches to have licensed specialties from that, because like if you go to college, you can have a degree on some area, for example, economics, and
Yeah.
then you specialize on macroeconomics or microeconomics or something. And that's because of that speciality that you have a good market and you can help people in a very specific way. And I think in football, if you have license for individual development coaches, it will help a lot of coaches and especially a lot of clubs to recognize that this guy, this girl is really going to help us because he's very professional, very specialized on just this thing, and everybody needs it. So we're going to bring this guy or this girl, and they will help us a lot. So sorry again for just adding this up, but I think is maybe an interesting topic for future congresses or
Yeah.
FIFA or UEFA or CONCACAF or others to really try to understand what we can do more as coaches to help players, because at the end of the day, the players are the biggest, they are the stars, they are the agents of the games, what they move the ball, and we as fans, we pay to see them, we watch them, and we just want the best game possible. So we need to help the players the best way possible as well.
Sure. Yeah. You said something. I remember one leadership conference. I saw the guy said exactly what you said, different words but same meaning. People are wired differently. You
Yeah,
know, like you said, for some people, you have this approach. For another guy, for another woman, another player, you need a different approach. You cannot use the same recipe for everybody because it's difficult. Yeah, they are completely different to the way they are wired, and it's very interesting. I think as an individual development lead coach, you have different eyes and different feeling, to understand the player you have in front of you. It's not everybody's. It's not like computer control C, control V. Cope and pass doesn't work. For every player needs a different approach. Very good. Thank you so much, coach. It's was wonderful conversation. I'm gonna leave your contact during the description of the video. And I really appreciate the opportunity to listen your viewpoints or your point of views, and I really appreciate. Thank you so much. It's very very good. Thank you.
thank you, my friend. It has been an honor, and thank you for the promotion, and thank you for giving a platform like an unknown coach as myself, as other coaches are, and to give a platform to people like me to explain maybe some things of the future of football and soccer. And thank you again for being a guy that's really trying to help people all around you. In terms of futsal, in terms of soccer, football, and that's why I said in the beginning, not just to give you a heads up or to just to try to increase your ego. No, because I really believe that you are a very important guy in the United States or in your experience in Europe and Brazil. And thank you again for the opportunity platform. And for people that want to contact me or people that train like me, uh, again, I can help people, players of all ages to develop to the objectives that the players establish, but most important to the objectives that the club establishes. So I'm here to help. If you need my help or just my advice, can be just my advice. I'm here to help. Okay, the clubs, the managers, the coaches, the directors, the owners, and specifically the players, of course. And thank you again for your time. And see you next time on our channel. I'll just make a quick promotion. My good friend Igor is running a very interesting football soccer channel just for women's football that he's giving me the honor of inviting me each week, and it's called Pink Football. We speak in Portuguese, so for the Portuguese speaking people on Earth, it's very easy. For others, maybe we can use now some technology to give them subtitles or something. But if you want, see that Pink Football. It's free. Go to YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, and we have good videos. We talk about these issues, other issues concerning women's football, but sometimes we talk more broad in a broad way about men's football as well, youth or senior players. So I give this promotion as well because you, my friend Igor, deserve, women deserve, and I think it will be good for coaches and players to see that as well. And thank you again for the opportunity, and I wish you and everybody that's seeing us a great week, and for your families as well.
Okay. Thank you, coach. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Okay. Have a
Thank you,
great
my
day.
friend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for you as well, my friend. Thank you. Bye.